100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just level up, don't be scared.
What is up, you beautiful, beautiful bastards? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist, or Knock TV. Knock TV Live. What's going on? So I forgot to plug my headphones in. I worked a little bit today. I didn't work much. Made a video this morning. Got the video out. And then I filmed 2 more videos, so I've got my settings all jacked up and forgot to change them before I turned on my OBS, so it's not going to let me use my headphones. That means I'm going to be doing a lot of button work on my microphone, which is usually not a good idea. So we're going to see how this is going to work out. What's going on? BigZebra.com is here. How long does it take for a crowd to pile in? We'll see if a crowd shows up. Just started streaming again. Lost a lot of the goodwill, a lot of the viewership I used to have. Gonna have to build it back up. But usually some peoples will start to pile in. This is a different time than I have been streaming. This is a little more prime time, so maybe more streams going on. So anybody watching on the playback, welcome. This should be a good one. I'm going to continue with the theme about how political dynamics seem to be shifting. I'm going to be watching some more Valhalla TV. Got quite a bit to watch from the stream that I was hyping the last time that I was live. Going to be watching just how this right-winger is going to kind of start up his show. Going to watch how this right-winger is going to kind of talk about the Epstein files. And we're going to watch this right-winger who, it's getting harder and harder for me to call him a right-winger because it does appear that he's getting at least to the center. We're going to watch him talk about kind of what his military training did to him, how it desensitized him, and he's going to kind of talk about the split amongst military veterans when it comes to the war in Iran. And I'm going to really be trying to emphasize just the changes that we're seeing because, not too long ago, this guy would have been probably 100% gung-ho in the Republican camp. So we are seeing a major shift. I'm also going to be watching a story by the Dark Woke King, Kyle Kalinske. I thought about showing, just kind of watching the video. It's about Graham Platner having a conversation with a 3-time Trump voter. But I like Kyle's takes on it, so we'll watch that. And then if there's enough time, the infighting of the MAGAverse is something that we've just never really seen before, and now we're seeing it all over the place. So I'm going to be kind of looking at the worst of that, I think, and that's going to be some Candace Owens. So that's if I have some time for that. Again, I am going to be working this microphone, so hopefully it's going to work out well, and I'll be on top of it. Probably won't, because I'm going to be smoking at this whole stream. So, yeah, this should be interesting. Not sure why my dumbass didn't remember I needed to close out OBS, plug my headphones back in, fix my settings, and then turn OBS back on before I started stream. I don't know. I am Knock, and that's totally something Knock does. So we're right back to where we are. What's up, Maynard? Say smoke weed every day. Anybody else that's going to join? I'm sure we'll have some folks joining at some point or another. But again, it's kind of one of the things that I'm looking forward to, and I really hope it works out that my car will stay healthy, and that I'll be able to keep working, keep everything going, keep everything on, and be able to do this, whenever I can. My time is very limited compared to before. I work a lot of hours. But at the same time, I'm really OCD, and it seems like my brain has been wanting to do this for a while. Although I am, and kind of always have had troubles with coming up with video ideas. And I'm trying to get over the fact that I've done a lot of videos. I'm not gonna obsess about not repeating shit. If I repeat shit, I'm gonna try to do it better this time. I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about different things I can do. So this should be an interesting stream. Again, this stream really moved me. I was seeing a lot of right wingers in the side chat, giving Adam Mockler props, talking about how much they don't like Hassan Piker, but Hassan Piker is right. He should be able to say the things that he's saying, and most of the things he's saying makes more sense than anything the Republicans are saying right now. It's fucking insane. I never thought I'd see this day. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Valhalla himself, which is really surprising for me. I'm very anti-war. I'm not a person that is really impressed by military service. Usually I don't like the alpha male mentality of most vets that have served overseas. So it's kind of surprising to me that I've become a fan. Now again, he's got policies, I'm sure, still that I'm not going to like, but again, he's coming, he just seems to be moving at a very drastic pace away from the guy that I first started watching. Now, he's still deeply connected with the military vet community, still deeply connected with Ian Carroll, with that whole hemisphere of conspiracy-minded YouTube content. But, as long as you're not really taking that kind of shit too seriously, it could be fun. I'm not going to lie. It could be fun. I like to go to sleep on the 6-hour long conspiracy icebergs. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing better to go to sleep to. But all right, we're gonna get into this. So this is Valhalla VFT again. This is a right winger coming out of the cult. Now he never voted for Donald Trump. I think, and he'll say he never supported Donald Trump, but I would say he probably did. He might not have voted for him, but I definitely supported Trump. In some policies at least, but he has been a staunch advocate. He's been there, and he's going to kind of talk about it. I do believe I got it marked that we're going to be listening to him kind of talk about how he thinks things kind of split with MAGA, and he's kind of a good observer about this split of MAGA because he's a good representative of that. This is the dude that I have called a beard for the last, 10 years now. That white dude, red hat, beard, he doesn't even have to have the red hat. He'll have the beard. That's usually 99% of them got the beard. He'll have some kind of shirt with a American flag on it in black and white. Maybe he'll have that blue line, but usually it's just black and white, right? Maybe it will even be if he's super alpha male MAGA. Maybe it'll even be that black and white flag in the Punisher skull. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? The beers. It's what I've been calling these guys for 10 years now. And you know, while he's still got a much better beard than I could ever grow, don't think I could describe him as a beard anymore. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into, and I'm pointing at him like you guys can see him already. We're going to get into Valhalla VFT. What's going on, Robin? What's going on, Marty? This dude has come a long way. This is going to be some powerful stuff. We're going to start with how he opened his show. How this right-winger opens his show is fucking hilarious, I think. I found it funny. I do have a dark sense of humor. We're going to see him talk about the Epstein files. We're going to see him interact with MAGA because MAGA is still intertwined in his chat. I have to imagine he started to draw some liberals and left-wingers to his side chat by the way the side chat's looking. But his side chat is still filled with right-wing folks. Filled with it. This dude has built a 500,000 subscriber channel on right-wing folks listening to his military speak and to some of the conspiracy theories, right? So dude has come a long way, and he's going to start his show, this former beard, in this manner, and it's fucking hilarious. I wonder, let me know if you've seen this meme.
Looks pretty good. Show the tapes then. I call BS. Okay. Well, you know, the guy literally is in the files 38,000 times, and he's got about 28 different allegations of him R-ing underage girls in the files themselves. But yeah, I know it's a crazy idea to think that there may be tapes of, you know, the guy who's literally in the files 50 times more than everybody else.
Like, this is him starting the show. Now it's gonna get funnier. I forgot about that little part. I might have started it a little bit earlier. Because, like, you know, he's got this really long, pretty badass introduction with this, like, fan-made song that is just dope as fuck. I dig it. I dig the opening. Maybe one of the best openings on YouTube. I should show you the opening, just to show you like what badness, like, and not badness in a bad way, but badness in that, like, that kick-ass way looks like. But yeah, this is how he's going to be talking to some of the MAGAs that's still in this chat. Like, he takes no shit. And this is kind of how we should probably talk to them. Like, if they're still supporting this shit, give them no quarter. Take a lesson from Nate here. Give them no quarter.
Yeah, I'm sure. But again, we don't know. But we're going to look at the story coming out of or coming from the victim. And then we're going to talk about a story with Marjorie Taylor Greene is pretty rough, too. All right, so I want to kick the show off. Donald Trump actually attended the Met Gala this year, which was incredibly bizarre. I don't know if you guys saw this. Most of you guys probably don't watch the Met Gala. I don't usually eat.
His name is Valhalla VFT. And, yeah, I recommend people to sub to him. I recommend leftists to cover this swing. Like, I do plan on, like, I want to go back, cover some of his old stuff, really document this swing in the idea of what I'm trying to cover here. The political winds are blowing. They are blowing. Things are changing at a very, very rapid pace. It's why the Republicans are moving so quickly to try to gerrymander and try to change the maps. It's also why, and we're going to get into it later when he starts talking about how the military trains him and other people, we should probably be fucking terrified. But we'll get there. Things are changing, though. Things are changing.
Either. But he did attend the Met Gala, and he was slightly. I got to be honest with you guys. He was looking good in his Big E Island outfit here. So I mean, props to him for deciding to
Donald
show
Trump
up
at
to
the
this
Met Gala.
thing. So let's check that out to kick the show off. There he is. Surprise appearance. Looking good, looking good. All right, so he's got a lot going on, but I do appreciate the.
Am I muted? Hopefully you heard the video. That's what matters. And hopefully that's not going to happen a lot. Because you might not have been here, Robin. I kind of fucked up my setup. So my volume that I'm listening to is coming from my speakers. I can't change it now. I tried. Maybe, yeah, I don't think I was muted, but I might have been. I tried to change it, and it was after I was streaming when I noticed. So once you're streaming, there's no changing it. So I just got to kind of, not do that, you know. I got to be on this button here, because if I don't press the button, if I just leave it on, you're probably going to get an echo. So I'm going to try to avoid that. I fucked up. It's all me. But this is hilarious. This is a meme that's going around. Donald Trump at the Met Gala, totally Israel'd out, totally greatest allied out, right? Like just showing who the master is, giving no fucks about it. AI is a terrible thing. Terrible thing. I thought about showing this story about the Bulwark focus group, because the Bulwark focus group picked out 9 Trump voters that have recently, jumped ship. And it was a fascinating story. Just like what these MAGA voters are talking about. But I think I'm going to save it for another episode of this. But this is just fucking hilarious. Now, again, like, we would have never, like, Trump was not the butt of the joke, right? Maybe in the left wing, he was the butt of the terrified joke we were all telling each other over and over and over again for the last 10 years. But when it came mainstream, when it came to MAGA, when it came to right-wingers, no, Trump wasn't the butt of the joke. Trump was making the jokes. Trump was pointing at Elizabeth Warren and calling her Pocahontas. Trump was setting the narrative. And Trump has absolutely no fucking control over any narrative going on right now. And we have never seen that before. Everything's fucking changing, bro. Everything's fucking changing. So yeah, now we're gonna get into some longer clips, right? So now we're gonna listen to him talk about the victim that has that claims to have the tapes of Donald Trump, and then we're gonna get into him talking about his military training and veterans and why veterans are split on the war of Iran. And then we'll move on to Kyle, and we'll see where I'm at. I've got, I'm going to be working pretty much nonstop this weekend. I definitely wanted to get a stream in before I did that. I've got 2 videos filmed. So a new video out on the new channel now. Made a post about it. If you haven't subbed to the other channel, go check out the new video. Sub to the other channel. And here I am stammering. I got to cut out all this stammering and shit. So now I'm going to 8:59. So just about not even a jump, really. We'll go right there.
Pretty well. So Donald Trump, victim.
A little bit.
Pretty well. So
it's a really
Donald
long
Trump
stream, so this
looking
probably
good at the Met Gala. All right, let's kick it off. Okay, Keith Edwards actually did a big expose on this, so that's where we're going to start with, and then we'll move into some other reporting coming out of this. But
all right, so right there, that was something that I was commenting on the last stream, right? So this was a guy, when I first started watching him, who would constantly be quoting Nick Fuentes, constantly be quoting Candace Owens, taking their sides in different, I don't know, infighting within MAGA that was going on, the little shit that would go on before. Definitely hanging out with people that I was aware of, people like Ian Carroll, who I considered doing videos on in the past for his some of the conspiratorial bullshit, but also like recognizing like the dude's service, and he's like a hero in military circles, and I would be stepping into a ring of fucking fire that I chose not to step into, but definitely aware of this kind of circle. So to see this man go from, quoting Candace Owens, quoting Nick Fuentes, using them as like the baseboards of the shows he's putting on. Here recently, it's been Keith Edwards, and I don't know if you guys know Keith Edwards. He's a moderate, you know. I say moderate, like right wingers lose their minds when I say moderate. He's a liberal. They're like, liberals aren't moderates. Yes, they are. He's a liberal, but he seems to have like kind of like, maybe he used to be a reporter on a major network, I'm not sure, but he seems to have like a lot of connections in the mainstream media. He was at the White House correspondent dinner as a guest, like he was all tuxedoed out and shit. So like, seems to have a good beat on that world, right? Kind of like Tim Miller with the Bulwark. So to see this man go from Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, you know, to Keith Edwards, that's the swing that I'm like, holy shit, like what am I watching right now? Because, you know, never before, like these people before, it didn't matter like how much we might agree on certain subjects, they wouldn't touch on that, right? Like they're not going to show a liberal on their podcast because their podcast would lose their fucking minds. But now we live in a different political climate, and he hasn't suffered at all for the turn at all. In fact, the audience seemed to be turning with him, you know, like it's insane. I've never seen anything like it in all of my 49 years on this earth, trying to, and for, you know, 30 of them, I've been fighting for democratic ideals, left-wing ideals, trying to promote left-wing ideology. And it's like, you know, hitting your head on a fucking cement wall a lot of times in this country doing so. And any leftist will say the same if they've tried to be out in the real world doing this leftist thing. It's like hitting your head against a fucking brick wall. It gets really fucking tiring.
Let's kick it off. Let's jump straight into it. Yes, breaking Epstein victim. I'm sure you guys are familiar with her. She's been one of the main victims that has been coming forward about this stuff. Says she has tapes of Donald Trump doing things that...
Now, I believe that was supposed to represent like the two, BigZebra.com. I believe it was supposed to represent the two seraphim, I think they're called, on the Ark of the Covenant, and the door was supposed to be the gates of heaven. I do believe, I could be wrong about that, but definitely Israel colors. So I'm assuming it has something to do with that.
Will force him to resign from the presidency. Let's check it out. And I got to make sure I stop by 7:10 because I literally cannot show you what the allegations say on YouTube, legal, or I will immediately have this live stream pulled down. It's that fucking gross. Okay, so anyway, let's take a look at the reporting.
Epstein victim,
and he like stops when he gets to a certain point because it's so fucking gross. He's afraid like YouTube will take down his video for it, and he's probably got pretty good reason because YouTube is coming down hard on him. It's something that I'm going to be talking about probably after the weekend. I want to see where the story goes. I just had something flash on my phone earlier today. Some of y'all might be seeing something flash on your phone. I don't want to say it out loud. There seems to be some kind of censorship effort going on with the story, but there's a certain floating around again, cruise ships, like 6 countries so far. And we had the absolute worst president possible for it. Yeah, so that's so he put out a video today about that, and video's gone. Video went bye-bye, you know. So I you know, he's probably a little paranoid about YouTube coming down on him, as I am. You know, that getting that strike first stream back really fucked with me. I ain't gonna lie.
He says she has.
I'm scared to do this.
Trump doing things that will force him to resign from the presidency. Jeffrey Epstein kept blackmail videos that showed Donald Trump
happy birthday, Robin.
With many girls supplied by him, according to the latest bombshell claims in newly unsealed court documents. In the latest dump of papers made public last year are emails sent by Epstein victim Sarah Ransom to columnist Maureen Callahan in 2016. At the time, Callahan worked for the New York Post and was reporting on Epstein. Ransom claimed in those emails that Trump had sex with many girls, including a friend of hers who is not named. who she says also slept with Bill Clinton and Virgin.
Bill Clinton just happens to be right there next.
Yeah, I mean, Republicans harp on it, and we're all tired of saying, like, we don't give a fuck if Bill Clinton was in the Epstein files. He needs to go to prison. Like, for real, like, no, yeah, he was in. He is as bad as any of them. He is as bad as any of them. And for him to, like, still to this day try to pretend that he's not, it's actually pretty fucking disgusting. All of these people need to be in prison. All of them. I don't give a fuck what party they belong to. And quite honestly, I think we need to have a serious discussion about the consequences for human beings that are capable of justifying supporting people that commit those crimes. It's just like maybe not consequences, so to speak, like go to jail, but like consequences are, now we're gonna like bug every device you ever own for the rest of your life, right? Like there's something there. There's a there.
Next to Trump and all of this. Isn't that interesting how those two are just the main two in the files? Crazy, huh?
Billionaire Richard Branson. In a 2016 email, Epstein victim Sarah Ransom told Maureen Callahan that her friend had sex with Trump, Clinton, and Richard Branson. She claimed Epstein took videos of the encounters, that she had seen the footage. And here's actual evidence from that email. Saying here, when my friend had with Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Richard Branson's tapes were in fact filmed on each separate.
Somebody just said, why bring it up now? Probably because they finally feel safe enough with all the expose on this that they're not going to get immediately fucking suicided, is probably why these women finally are having a little bit of bravery to come forward, because they're going up against literally the most powerful people in the fucking world. So yeah, I could see a little bit of hesitancy to want to come out about this 5 years ago.
Occasion.
Again, something that we've just never really seen before. Like before they would be able to justify it, right? Maybe not Nate. Like again, he probably built his entire channel on the Epstein files, right? Like, Nate, Ian Carroll, all these people. Like the moment, and he's going to talk about it. Like the moment Trump put out that post about like if you believe the Epstein files or whatever, you're no supporter of mine. That was a huge fuck up. That was the beginning of the break. We just didn't see it at first. It wasn't showing up in the polling, right? We were still seeing that blind support. But people started, they're like, no, bro, what the fuck you talking about? That's nasty. Like, what? Ugh. And then they started looking at Donald Trump, not as Donald Trump anymore, but as a pedophile. And once you see a human being like that, you ain't going back. You're not going back from that. And that's Trump's fucking fundamental problem right now. And he's so delusional, he actually thinks he's going to run for 2 more terms, as if he'd fucking lived that long. Like, these people will see him, and they see children. That's not good. That's what he built. That's the Gibraltar, right? Like, that's the rock he built his kingdom upon.
By Jeffrey. Thank God she managed to get a hold of some footage of the film tapes, which clearly identify the faces of Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Branson having course with her. Frustratingly enough, Epstein was not seen in any of the.
Keep in mind, these are old reports, and it's the what? It's the 3 that we always see: Clinton, Trump, Prince Andrew, right?
Footage, but he was clever like that. Now, Ransom also claimed.
And he's not wrong. It's those 3, and then it's Richard Branson, or it's Noam Chomsky, or it's like the other really smart dude, Stephen Hawking. Like the Stephen Hawking still breaks my fucking heart. I'm not gonna lie, but again, there's that just shows you just how easy it is to do. A man that you admire your whole fucking life, Stephen Hawking. Especially becoming an atheist. And he's in the files. Like, fuck Stephen Hawking. Fuck that dude. I wish somebody tip his fucking wheelchair over. Which can't now, but somebody should have. Fuck him.
And that Trump did this stuff.
All right, that's where we're going to stop. Keith's got the bravery to put this on his YouTube channel. You guys can take a look. We're not going to leave it up there. The reporting is up there for you guys to go see. If you want to go take a look at Keith's video, you can. I'm not going to put it on my YouTube channel for this live stream because it's that fucking gross listening to the allegations.
And it is pretty fucking disgusting. Like, I'm trying to think of the term. Hedonist. Like, Trump's a hedonist. Right? And it's clear, like, by several of the descriptions that we've gotten from women that have been with him. Like, Trump is a hedonist. So he likes to give the people he's with pain. And the description in this is particularly just weird. It's fucking weird. So Trump likes to lick nipples until they become raw and hurt the women. And it for hours. Like, he'll be licking their nipples for hours, and they'll just stay hard for hours and get raw and very, very painful and swollen. It's yeah. I don't blame Nate for not talking about it, and I wish I didn't know about it, honestly.
Of what Trump did to this woman.
A sadist, yes, thank you. I was searching
disgusting.
for the word, Big Zebra, and I knew hedonist wasn't right, but I'm like, it sounds right, goddammit, and no, you're right. A sadist, yes, he's a sadist. He enjoys giving pain.
Right? Disgusting. But then when we actually hear Marjorie Taylor Greene came out this week, and she has told everybody what Donald Trump said to her.
Hedonism is something else. Like, to each their own. I can't understand it, but it's like it's rough and disrespectful and yeah, but yes, sadist. Try intertwining the two of those words in and out, in and out, in and out for a while.
After she made the decision,
pleasure
that she was
seeking,
going
yeah.
forward to support.
I don't know. Like, I got this thing in my Sims 4. And it's weird, man. It's the only thing I know about hedonism. It's weird. You know, I've only used it once. This particular sequence in my Wicked Whims on Sims 4. Like, I have never seen anything like it before in my entire life, and I'll never watch it again.
The release of the e-files, and wow, you guys, if you haven't seen this, we're all gonna learn what a real piece of shit this guy actually is, and I trust that she's telling the truth. I don't see why she would make this up. She also says she has the text messages she's willing to release to show everybody. So brace yourselves, because this is rough to listen to. Here we go.
I got no response from Susie Wiles.
Again, like, another thing that's like different about all of this is, like, none of this would have broken through these right-wing circles before. It was the Epstein files. It was Trump coming out. Like, I really don't know what the fuck he was thinking, honestly. Like you are in the Epstein files. Why in the fuck are you going to say you're going to release them? Like, you know you're in them. You know all your homies are in them. But he was so worried about going to prison, he had to win. And he had to say anything to win. That's all that mattered at the time. But man, he has all these people around him. None of them could have came up with a better way than promising that. That's the foundation. Like I said, that's that QAnon foundation of MAGA. And it goes way back even beyond that. Like, I've got a video in the cut about the history of MAGA. I think he's like some kind of Republican historian. Seems familiar. I'm not sure. But it's an interesting, fascinating video about how MAGA actually started back with Pat Buchanan. Interesting video. I'm going to cover it. Eventually, I'm going to get there. But like I said, I've already got 2 other videos filmed. And I at least got to get the Mehdi Hassan Part 2 done. And I want to get it. I want it to be out. I want to try to give it like 2 days, 3 days in between tops.
She's talking about all the people that she reached out to when she was initially trying to get the files released, when she talks about this.
None. And she's a mother and a grandmother and a woman. I got no response from James Blair because he only cares about making money on campaigns. I did hear from Kash Patel. He said on it, but I haven't heard from him since. I don't know what he's on.
Little Kash Patel joke right there.
JD Vance was very nice to me, compassionate and kind, and reassured me that he would do everything we could to find out what's going on.
And then didn't do anything, keep in mind, to find out what's going on. But I digress.
And then I heard back from Donald Trump.
Here we go.
And I've said,
See, and it's like they're all cooked. So, I mean, like, they're literally going to have to not only, like, gerrymander their way to supremacy, they're going to, if they want it to look legit, they're going to have Elon do that thing time and time again. And just the first time doing it, people are already on to what was happening, right? Like, these people are fucking cooked, man. So what's going to be the response of that? That's what I'm worried about, because the political winds are shifting, and they've got pretty much absolute power. We all know they're going to do something for the midterms. And with coming, it's like the world might even be providing him the solution.
save these text messages. I'd probably get put in jail if I released them publicly, but I saved them.
If
Well,
it is
Donald
indeed
Trump
coming,
proceeded
you
to
know,
tell
like,
me that it was my fault.
Wow.
I don't, like, nobody really knows what's going to happen with this thing yet, as far as I know. But it's the fact that they're trying to suppress it, the fear. That's the worrying factor about it all.
And that I deserve it. If my son gets killed, I deserve it.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said that her son was getting death threats based off of her forcing the release of the Epstein files. When she talked to Donald Trump about this, as you see there, Donald Trump said that it would be her fault and he would deserve it if he was killed for this, by the way, her son.
Because I was a traitor to him. That is our president of the United States. That's the man that says MAGA is whatever he wants it to be. I sent him to all these people. I got no response from Susie Wiles.
So, why would she lie about that? She's probably going to have to be forced to, come forward and show the text and prove it, which I'm sure.
Yeah, and not only that, like, Trump would immediately be suing her if he knew he didn't send those texts. Right? Like, this is Donald Trump. Now, MTG, I have my thoughts on MTG. Everybody knows, like, I've had a ton of videos that I've done on her. I don't trust her. I don't trust Tucker. They're both making bids for president, but I don't think she's lying. Right? And I actually believe that she feels betrayed by Trump. Like, because she believes in this QAnon death cult bullshit, right? And now she thinks that Trump's part of it, and she thinks that's her path to the presidency. So, I take MTG with a grain of salt, but again, like, this would never happen before. MTG would have just shut up and went along. But these political winds, they've been changing for a long time. Like I said, when Trump made that post, when Epstein files first got all fuckery for him, and he made that post telling his MAGA supporters that if they don't essentially don't shut the fuck up about Epstein, that they're no longer part of MAGA, like, somebody around him should have smacked him. Like, this dude is supposed to be politically savvy, right? He's supposed to have the heartbeat of his base, like, whispering in his ear. What the fuck was he thinking? Like, and again, I think we all know what's going on. The dude is at the end. And he's the president of the United States.
Sure she can. But think about that. She was told she started getting death threats to her family, and
so I'm gonna start pulling. I'm gonna take the example of Nate here, and we'll see it once we get there. How he speaks with these MAGAs. So what's up, Jill? You chomo. What's wrong with you, Chomo? Only a Chomo would support and defend Chomos. Chomo. I'm going to take the example of our good friend here.
Her kids for supporting the release of the...
Actually, I don't think so, Puff. I don't think so. I think that's what we've seen. That's what's been reported. But and he's going to get into it too. He's going to talk about it here. We've got roughly 5 more minutes just of this section that I'm going to watch, and then I've got another 10-minute section. But I'm pretty sure, like here, he's probably going to. Actually, it's probably the next section. He'll be talking about like when the rift in MAGA really started. But again, he was never actually MAGA. Like he never voted for Trump. He was just part of those conspiratorial circles that probably got Trump elected. Honestly,
pedophile ring files. And when she talked to Donald Trump about it, what did Trump say? You'll be at fault, Marjorie. And he deserves it to be killed for what you did.
And it's really easy to be, I don't know, surrounded by the echo chamber and not actually see what's going on. But like I said, I've been tuned into this guy for, I don't know, about a year now. And by tuning into him, I've been naturally tuned into others. I can't remember this other dude's name, another beard, really long beard, tats like this dude. I can't remember his name, but he's a really popular one. Of course, Candace Owens and that whole fuckery that's been going on there for a year. When Candace turns, she is vicious. she takes no prisoners, and that's been fascinating to watch. And again, like, these people's audiences didn't abandon them. You know, Candace Owens is under fire right now, and they are trying to ruin her. Right? They're probably not going to succeed. Like if she's doing a live stream, she's usually pulling in about 8 million viewers. Right? Like it's fucking insane. I think her numbers has went down a bit because they are, I mean, they're using unlimited resources to try to destroy her. And you know, like honestly, it's one of the few good things they're doing. I mean, this is Candace Owens that we're talking about. You don't want to support the fascism, but like if anybody deserves it, it's not James Comey, it's fucking Candace Owens.
What did she do? She supported trying to get justice for the victims of a mass.
No, Puff, but I've watched him too. I've watched Heavy Metal. He actually drives me insane. It's really hard to watch him. I only do it because, like, to me, he is that true, like, MAGA. But no, it's not him. It's another guy. I don't watch him enough for him to really pop up on my feeds for me to find him real quick. And I don't think I'm subscribed to him. Usually it'll be like he'll do a stream with Nate and refer to a video that I'll go watch or something.
International child trafficking ring.
I could go on Nate's channel and I'd find the guy.
And she deserves to have her fucking kids killed, according to the president of the United States. Do you think that guy is fucking innocent? Think about this. We know he's done everything in his power to try to block the release of these files, right? We've seen it. We all know that.
Listen close,
you
Jill.
Think he's fucking innocent when he's saying shit like that to the people who supported this? I hope your kids get killed for this. This is the most guilty motherfucker on the planet. You don't trust her? Who said I don't trust her? Yeah, that's because you're probably a chomo, dude. You're probably...
Yeah, and they're not going to lose. Like, Candace Owens is going to lose the fuck out of that lawsuit, I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, no, because actually, no, it's actually going to be really hard for them to win, I think, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, because Candace Owens is a public figure, it's going to be really hard for them to win that lawsuit. Just like as it would be if it was turned around and Candace Owens was suing them, it would be really hard for Candace Owens to win. It's really hard to win any defamation lawsuit against a public figure.
Probably a pedophile. The only people who support this shit are chomos. So don't come in here bragging about how you probably diddle kids, dude. It's gross. Nobody wants to hear about that. And we should probably get the FBI on you. All right?
See, I totally ruined that moment. We're going to go back if I can because this is a really long stream. It's really hard to go back. Let's go back to about right here. Because Jill, you need to listen close. You need to listen close. This is a real alpha male, Jill, right? So you see all that shit behind him. This is a Green Beret. Here in a little bit, he's going to talk about being downrange. You should know that, but Jill, you probably don't because you're probably a cuck. But downrange means being in the shit, being in war. He's going to talk about the lives he's taken downrange. This is the person you're supposed to venerate if you're actually true to your principles and everything you pretend to care about, Jill. But see, the hypocrisy of you fucktards right now knows no bounds, and you can't be taken seriously anymore. So you need to listen close to Nate here about how he's going to treat you chomo wannabes. Like, it's kind of fucking disgusting that you defend chomos, Jill. It's really kind of fucking disgusting, and shame on you. Shame on you for defending chomos, you sick fuck.
Of the United States. Do you think that guy is fucking innocent? Think about this. We know he's done that.
No, we're going to go back further. We're going to go back. I want you to get all of it. The full context. Let's go back there. Let's see where we're at.
You'll be at fault, Marjorie.
All right, right here.
And he deserves it to be killed for what you did. But what did she do? She supported trying to get justice for the victims of a massive international child trafficking ring. That's all she did. And she deserves to have her fucking kids killed, according to the president of the United States. Do you think that guy is fucking innocent? Think about this. We know he's done everything in his power to try to block the release of these files, right? We've seen it. We all know that. You think he's fucking innocent when he's saying shit like that?
For sure.
To the people who supported this? I hope your kids get killed for this. This is the most guilty motherfucker on the planet. You don't trust her? Who said I don't trust her? Yeah, that's because you're
yeah. Well, here it is.
Probably a chomo, dude.
You're probably a chomo, dude.
Pedophile.
You're probably a pedophile.
The only people who support this shit are chomos. So don't come in here bragging about how you probably diddle kids, dude. It's gross. Nobody wants to hear about that.
Jill, it's gross. Nobody needs to hear about that. Man, I love this guy, bro. That's how you talk to these fuckers. You just completely dismiss them for the chomo defenders that they are. And yes, BigZebra.com, Jesus is Lord is rebuke and reprove. In fact, I need to remember to go to that live chat thing just in case I'm not seeing some of the chats out there. That's got to become like habit. But that's how you do it, man. Setting the stage. Nate setting the course. I think like we've been kind of scared to just come out and say it, right? Like just say it. Like all these dudes, they want to pretend like they're alpha males. You don't defend this shit unless you're a chomo, right? Like you can't square that in your head unless you've already squared that in your head. You know what I'm saying?
And we should probably get the FBI on you. All right. She's not going to say that if she can't replicate the text. And you notice Donald Trump didn't come out and deny it, which he would have immediately. Right? So let's keep moving on this one. This story's rough. So she says yesterday, MAGA should never be told that a convicted P-word and his circle of elite friends are in girls when they are 14 to 16 years old is a Democrat hoax. And I still can't believe I had to fight President Trump to release the Epstein files. And
Puff, they're already working their ways around it. Like Trump has come out and said he wants to run for 2 more terms. They are already planning. Like Trump isn't planning on leaving. Now, I don't think he's going to make it to the end of this term, but that's just my personal opinion. And not from any assassination attempt. Like these things are all rigged. Ain't nobody getting close to him. Natural causes.
She had to. We all saw it. They shut down the goddamn government for 50 days to try to stop this. Remember that? And to this day, no one has been arrested or held accountable. True. But who has been arrested? James Comey for putting seashells in the sand. A random army dude for betting on himself for the Maduro raid. They've been arrested. And this is the most true.
And quite honestly, let's think about this. Why in the fuck wouldn't the Army guys bet on themselves? Like, we are the most efficient fighting force in the history of the world. We spend all of this money on the ability to kill human beings, right? And we hardly give anything to them. Like, you know, like they're better off than me. But like, you know, we train them to go and murder people. At least you think we can make them, I don't know, lower upper class, something. It just seems like it would be fair. Like, you're going to turn a perfectly decent human being into a murderer. He should be compensated for that. And I mean no disrespect by that, but that's exactly what we do. It's what we have to do, and that's why I advocate to end all war forever. It's a pipe dream. I'll never live to see it unless we get the nanobots. And if the nanobots can come out before I'm like 60 and it's too late for me, you know, because I'm probably dead by then. So come on, nanobots. You know, come on, nanobots. That's what I got to say.
True shit in the world right here. She said, this is what killed MAGA. And I 100% agree. There's a lot of things a lot of people didn't agree with on Trump. This was the nail in the coffin. She says, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I love this one. I have Trump disappointment syndrome. And this is just kind of the same thing everybody's feeling, right? You got this one right here. It says, the moment my support changed for Trump was when he said,
this
if you still care about the Epstein files, then
I went to a certain point for a reason, so I'm going to go there.
That was the nail in the coffin for me too, guys. I mean, obviously I didn't vote for the dude. I didn't really support the dude, but I was willing to give him a chance because I'm willing to give every new president a chance. I was willing to give Biden a chance, Obama a chance, Trump 1 a chance, Trump 2 a chance. And then the second, well, there was two things, right? The first of it was us bombing Iran in June. You guys know that. Those of you that have followed the channel, you guys have been along for the journey. And then we all know the moment he said that was the nah dog for.
And again, that was him tweeting that. The moment my support changed for Trump was when he said, if you still care about the Epstein files, then I don't want your support anymore. Say less. All right. Like, that for that constituency of the MAGA movement that believed that the elites of this world, particularly Democrats, but the elites of this world were having sex with children. The QAnon guys that thought that Q was Trump or Trump, somebody close to Trump, maybe Bannon, and that they were gonna expose these fucking Jews. And that's essentially what it came down to, because it was all Jewish hate, right? It was all Jewish hate. Democrats was code for Jews. Not Nate here, but I'm just talking this core base, right? How many of those people did he lose when he said that? That was the initial. That's the thing that did it forever. Like I said in that stream yesterday, Trump could literally, we'll take the Fifth Avenue scenario, have a gun to somebody's head, crowd of MAGAs around him, shoot the person in the fucking back of the head for no fucking reason, and the crowd of MAGAs would look at it, turn around to the voting booth, and vote Trump. Jill's in the side chat. He's one of these insane people. But the chink in the armor was that right there. That was the chink. And since then, we have been watching this windshield slowly just crack. Just little division lines everywhere. And now that fucking windshield, it's so fucking shattered, you can barely see out of it. And it's still cracking. Like, there's no stopping this momentum now. Trump can't get out of this war. Trump has been shown to be Bibi's bitch, right? He's a child molester. Like, that's what these people think of him now. We couldn't have thought less of him to begin with. Like, this is just like, oh, it kind of makes sense, right? But to these people, when you say Trump, you remember Biden and the hair fetish, right? That's all they saw. It didn't matter what Biden did after that. It's all they saw. The moment that became a thing, that's all they saw. Nothing else mattered. That's Trump now. And I'm fucking here for it, bro. All right, just like another minute and a half on this.
Right here it says the moment my support changed for Trump was when he said, "If you still care about the Epstein files, then I don't want your support anymore." Say less. That was the nail in the coffin for me too, guys. I mean, obviously I didn't vote for the dude. I didn't really support the dude, but I was willing to give him a chance because I'm willing to give every new president a chance. I was willing to give Biden a chance, Obama a chance, Trump 1 a chance, Trump 2 a chance. And then the second, well, there was two things, right? The first of it was us bombing Iran in June. You guys know that. Those of you that have followed the channel, you guys have been along for the journey. And then we all know the moment he said that was the nah dog for most of us that aren't just deranged sycophants that are willing to, defend an international child sex trafficking ring because our politicians are involved in it, right? We're like the psychotic tribalism of that. Most of us moved on from that. Yeah, I did get it.
I'm old enough to remember when Jill used to care about the Epstein files, right? I'm old enough to remember when all you heard was Jill talking about them Democrat chomos. But look at Jill now. Hypocrisy it never wins, right? You either stand for something or you don't. Jill, if you truly are a Christian, your God is ashamed of you. You're going to have to face that maker one day, bro. Sick fuck.
Fresh fade. Got a haircut and beard cut tonight. Thank you for that. Thank you. But yeah, of course, right? That's the vast majority of conservatives that may have supported Trump or at least was giving him a chance. That was the moment we went, we're out. You know what I mean? I'm dense. We're talking about defending a child sex trafficking ring. And you're calling me dense? Again, this is a chomo in the chat, right? Like these, I don't know why they come in here to try to defend pedophilia. like that's going to be a good take. Like anybody is ever going to be like, yeah, I agree with you. Let's protect the pedos. No, dude. Like, this is like the easiest thing in the world. This was the easiest litmus test for Americans and American men, especially in the world, right? In the history of America, this was the easiest litmus test. When you found out that the president of the United States was covering up an international child sex trafficking ring, did you no longer support him, or did you use mental gymnastics, deny it, and try to support him still? That's the break point. And it was the easiest test in the world.
He's not wrong.
To fail that test as a man is wild, right? The Tatums, the Shapiros, the Graham Allens, all of these cucks, right?
All of these
cucks. That was
cucks.
The litmus test. Raping kids. Do you support that or not? They all went, yep, I do. And we all went, nope, we don't. Right? Left, right, and center for us. Right? Far leftists, white nationalists. We all went, nope.
Like, he's not fucking wrong. He's not wrong at all. Like, that, it's the easiest thing, right? Like, they would have been so legit if it had been like, Barack Obama in the Epstein files 50 times more than everybody else, and all these Democrats were out here, no, like, they'd have been so legit and calling it for what it is, right? For finally being vindicated. And they did. They can be finally vindicated because they were right. There was a ring of elites ruling this world, and it does appear like it was satanic fuckery, and it was nasty, and it was gross, and murder, and babies, and eating. Like, who would have thought? Like, I didn't believe you. I still don't think that it was a pizza parlor with Democrats eating baby brains. We know now it was the Epstein class, and but you guys were right. And all the fake ones that never really cared about pedophilia, never really cared about children, never really cared about, the children that grew up to be women and dealing with the psychological scars of what they had went through. All of those fake people that never cared about it, we get to see them now. There's no running away for them now. They can pretend like the past doesn't exist, but it did. And we can see where they truly stand. Again, an awakening is usually followed by a reckoning.
We're over here now, right? And we've all seen it. It's rough to watch. Like the downfall, I don't know how anybody supports it, right? I mean, I get why a lot of you...
And that was pretty much it for that clip. So we're going to jump forward to 20 minutes and 30 seconds. And here's where he's going to really talk about his military training. This to me was like probably the most powerful thing. I didn't watch this whole stream. I think I ended up going to... I usually, if he's streaming and I'm actually watching the stream, it depends on what he's talking about. I'll usually end up falling asleep to the stream. So, and then usually like a good chunk of the stream is like Q&A. Yeah, like all of that shit back there is like him answering like super chats and stuff like that. So we're going to jump forward to, it's like 20 minutes and 30 seconds. As close to that as I can get. This is some powerful shit. Oh, I already got there. Yeah, I'm already as close as I'm going to get. This is some powerful shit. Now, I have made videos on this channel that are probably back up now that were very anti-soldier, and in my war activism, I've always been anti-soldier for a reason. Not because I'm actually, necessarily anti-soldier. I usually feel bad for the soldiers because I understand some of the psychological warfare that they've naturally failed to uphold, hold themselves against. We program them to do very awful things, and then they have to go on to live with it, and I empathize with that, man. I couldn't imagine living with the weight of it, and he's going to kind of talk about that here. I did it mainly because we had to get past this nationalistic way we look at war. And, the best thing for us anti-war activists has always been ex-military veterans that are going to get to a certain stage in life that Nate is going to talk about here. And I think it's very powerful. And it's why, like, ultimately I stopped doing that, like, negative anti-soldier rhetoric, because ultimately, like, these human beings have been, even the ones that are still brainwashed. Sometimes people aren't hateful people. They're made to be. And I think we've got to empathize with those people, man, because they enter the service oftentimes because they're poor, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Often nowadays, in the last few generations, it's because they're poor. The GI Bill has brought a lot of people out of poverty. All you got to do is be willing to put your life on the line, right? And so they take these people with these really great and noble intentions, and they have to grind them down. They have to kill those people in a sense. And Nate is going to kind of talk a little bit about it. And I found it powerful when I listened to this. So let's get into it.
Evangelicals do, because, well, we're gonna see how many of Trump's friends have been popped for this recently. That's going to be a little bit later in the show. But again, just the easiest litmus test in the world for men in America. And you fucking, not you guys in the chat, not us here, but
I must have just already naturally got myself there, or I'm looking at this wrong. Yeah. I must have just naturally.
So many people failed it and are still failing it. Okay, I want to talk about. We usually cover the war and what's going on with the war in the second part of the show, but I want to get some takes from veterans about veterans who don't support the war and why they don't support the war. Because what you guys have probably noticed is when it comes to veterans, there's still a ton of veterans who are super anti-Islam, who are pro-war in Iran. They want to wipe Iran off the face of the map. And there's some really good clips here of explaining about why. Slow mode is turned on. It's 5-second slow mode. Just got a lot of people in here tonight. We kicked off. Yeah, we just started the show and we're already way up there. Okay, so let's take a look at yeah, there's a lot of us, right? I would say probably 70, 50. Man, I don't know about veterans, right? But I would say at least 50% or more of veterans support this war. And there's some really good takes as to why, coming from guys who don't support the war. So it's not just me. It's going to be guys that you probably respect or know, and I do. And getting some of these takes is really good to understand.
And quite honestly, you know, even for the guys that are still right wing, I've developed a respect watching them because, like, all of these guys are consistent in their politics, which is like the one thing I ask. I don't expect anybody to have the same politics as me. But if you're a goddamn conservative, stay true to those principles, right? Like, all these fake ass conservatives never even understood what the principles of their ideology were. They just had talking points because they've been shoved the shit down, had the shit shoved down their throats their entire lives. You know, like they never took the time to actually understand what being a conservative means. I could rant on about that shit. So, like, I've developed a respect for these people like Sean Ryan, who I deeply, deeply disagree with politically, right? I'm trying to think of some of the other, like, because there's just so many. Even Ian Carroll, like, who is probably the most conspiratorial of them all. He's also one of the most organized of them all, and oftentimes he tends to be right. Dude isn't like a dumb person by any means, and he's just a little more, I don't know, especially back in the day, he's seemed to have calmed down a little bit, a little more eccentric, but brilliant. Like, he's created this like database when it comes to like the Charlie Kirk assassination that any of these people can draw from because none of them trust the FBI. You know, and they probably all have very good reason not to trust the FBI and the CIA because none of them trust the CIA either. Probably because of like what they've experienced in life.
Damn this. All right. So let's kick this off in understanding where is this sort of support from the war coming from? And I've had my back and forth with Clay Martin before, but I think he's a solid fucking guy. And he's got a great take here.
Said you think it's like 70% of the guys are just diehard. Yeah, let's go kick some ass. Let's go to war. There's 30% of us that are like,
Yep.
No.
Yeah, that would be roughly my take from like
That's us, right? That's our demographic here.
our retired guy generation.
Yeah.
It just feels to me like a lot of our guys have not gotten to the questioning phase. And part of that can be like, you know, hurt so bad from, it's very hard to invest 20 years of your life and all this
Yep.
blood and sweat and tears and then see that like, maybe that wasn't what we thought it was. Or maybe.
So this questioning phase, you know, this is something I'm aware of through my anti-war activism, especially in my 20s. But also, like, it was made very, very public in a movie, like, I don't know, surprisingly, a lot of people hasn't seemed to have seen Fahrenheit 9/11. Now, a lot of the movies, the Republicans have went out of their way to try to discredit the movies. You know, Michael Moore was probably a little shady with the way he organized the movie together. But to me, the most powerful part of Fahrenheit 9/11 was always the part that dealt with the soldiers coming back from the war in Iraq, right? And you really saw this questioning phase play out in that generation of soldiers, especially because you go in, you think that you're looking for weapons of mass destruction. You think Saddam Hussein wants to destroy the world, and you find out that you're playing oil games for rich men. It's not an easy thing to deal with. And then after everybody finds it out, they don't get to leave. They got to stay there for like 20 more fucking years. You know, like, are we still in Iraq? I don't even fucking know when it comes to Iraq. I don't know. Are we still in Iraq? Probably in some way or another. So, you know, this questioning phase is a phase where a lot of military vets, because and Nate's going to talk about it, it's got to be really hard to come to this conclusion, to look at these things that you have done and realize you might not be the good guy. In fact, you're probably not, right? That's got to be a fucking thing to come to deal with. Like, and anybody that can do it and survive it, man, we've got to send our respect to those people.
That was not worth it. Even when you see the fall of Afghanistan, though, it can be like, I'm just not going to deal with that. And I'm going to remember the good times, and I'm going to put on my funny hat and face outboard and, be that guy.
Still the blind support.
Yes.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, and I do see that as about 70-30.
Clay's.
So Clay's got a really good point here where he discusses, and I feel it all the time, guys. I get it. I went through this too, and I'm honest up front with you guys, right? I used to be the brainwashed, active duty soldier that was downrange, right? Hated Islam, hated Muslims, because that's what my country told me I was supposed to do. And it wasn't. And like Clay said there, until you get to the questioning phase of, wait a second, what was I doing in Afghanistan? What was I doing in Iraq, Syria, etc.? And you start to, again, think about things. And he made a great point there. So many of us dedicated the majority of our adult lives to this war, the global war on terror, fighting radical Islam.
Oh, I don't disagree, Puff. I don't disagree. My respect only goes so far, especially with Sean Ryan. We're going to get into a Sean Ryan clip here. I don't disagree with you at all, and totally understand that. But even like Sean Ryan he's starting to make a turn. All these people are starting to. They're going to talk. One of these vets is going to really talk about, like, they don't trust nobody no more, right? Like, they don't trust what they've been told. So it's hard to trust themselves, and Sean Ryan's no different. And a lot of these people, especially, another war, and just think of the PTSD that they're all going through now that we're just going back to the Middle East. And they all know, like, Iraq is a paradise compared to what's waiting in Iran, right? But and that's something that I haven't really talked about much, and I've been planning on talking about. And it's funny because you only really hear Trump talk about, like, possibly sending in land troops when he's trying to fuck with the markets, right? But like this whole thing of us, we can't send land troops in, right? Like, we can send special forces in, small deployments over the mountains, right? But we cannot send land troops into Iran because the only way in is through Afghanistan, right? And we don't own Afghanistan anymore. It's just the way it is, right? Like, so people need to understand that, right? Like, and we don't own Afghanistan anymore, and rightfully so. I never wanted to own Afghanistan. We never should have owned Afghanistan. But the reason we don't is because of Donald Trump. Joe Biden followed it through, but it's because of Donald Trump. So he can't get his troops in to end this thing quickly if he wanted to, because, he had the Taliban over to Camp David, and he made some, like, deranged fucking deal back then, and he can't do that again,
Islam extremism. How many of our friends got killed? How many of my teammates took their own lives afterwards? And it's really difficult to then say, wow, it was all for fucking nothing. It was all for the military industrial complex and bankers and a corrupt government. It's really hard for all of us who went and fought that war, all the trauma that comes with it, right? Our dead friends and teammates. It's really hard to look at that and then go, wow, I got lied to. Wow, what I did was probably not a good thing, right? As human beings can't deal with that very well. And so, sunken cost fallacy is a great term for this, right? We invested so much of our adult lives into this to find out it was a facade. And so many guys and my buddies and people we know, content creators you see they haven't been able to let go. They haven't been able to let go of that hate, right? For the enemy. And just go, you know what? Maybe these people weren't my enemy after all, right? And it's tough. It's a hard thing to do, right? But you're going to see more and more of this from Again, veterans who have woken up to this. Here's Sean Ryan on the exact same thing here.
I fought for because I think those were a lie. I know damn well Iraq was a fucking lie. That was a ploy to get KPR into fucking Iraq because Dick Cheney. Did we find WMDs? Fuck no. That war was bullshit, and everybody fucking knows it.
And the reality is that we've never held people accountable in this country, right? Where was the accountability for the people who lied us into war in Iraq, which led to thousands of Americans dying? Where was the
George Bush is, you know, as much as I liked him at the time, and I still don't dislike George Bush, but I mean, looking back on it, he face any accountability for this? Nope. None. Nobody did.
accountability for the bankers who crashed the entire economy
There you go.
after the Great Recession in Wall Street? No accountability.
And like what they're talking about right here, like this is the root of MAGA, right? So like Republicans have been really successful on tapping into especially what white people angst, but everybody's felt it, right? You want to know why there's suddenly a rise in socialism in the country? It's because everybody's felt it. Like I felt it when I was growing up. I felt it as a young adult struggling. I felt it when my child was born. Like, how are you going to do this, man? Still think it every single day I wake up. How the fuck am I going to do this, man? Like it's crushing. Right? It's crushing. So Republicans have been really good at, riling people up and saying, don't look over here, look over there. And at first it was, black people. I'd say, black people and Native Americans, but we pretty much, I don't want to say tamed, but it would be a good word for it. What was left of the Native Americans through drug addiction, alcoholism, starvation, horrible crimes of humanity that we committed against them, against black people, but always able to point the finger at them, like, look, they just got their rights, those black people. Now they're taking good jobs from the white man, and then the blame went to the woman, then the blame went to the gay person, and then it was Latinos, then it's trans, then it's Latinos again, then it's black people again, then it's trans, then it's women. And women always kind of just get the brunt of it, because, women are just as susceptible to the, brainwashing of the imaginary God as any man, so they get the brunt of it. They've always had the brunt of it on any woman of any race has pretty much got the brunt of it. But really good at riling up and pointing a finger. But it gets to a point you just can't do that no more, right? So, and especially, with these military people, it happened in Iraq. I can't tell you, how many people were coming out of the war in Iraq registering to be Democrats. It was insane because of just the blatant corruption of that war. Everybody that served in that war knew they were fighting for a lie. They knew way before the rest of us did. They knew it pretty much as soon as they fucking got there. This is some bullshit. Right? We have failed these people time and time again, but they also do get caught, and Nate is going to talk about this, they're broken down. They are made to hate. They're going to be desensitized, not just to Muslims, which seems to be the focus, is Muslim hate, but just desensitized to hate itself, right? White supremacy. I've often talked about, because I've got quite a few active service members in my family who have openly spoken about the white supremacy that is rampant in the military. It's not hidden. It's only hidden when cameras are around. Black people in the military terrified. They stayed to themselves. It's crazy because you get desensitized to all of that. In fact, it could be encouraged. And that should terrify us, especially when he's going to talk about it. It's in this era where are we going to have the military with us or with them? It's a terrifying notion. And kind of what they're saying is they'll be with them. 70%. They're going to be with them.
Where is the accountability in this country? And now people are saying, okay, you got these elite who are raping young girls or showing up while young girls are being raped and not saying anything. And we just want to move on?
Yep.
Hell no. I mean, we will not restore democratic trust in this country if we don't have accountability for some of these people who committed these crimes.
Perfect, right? Perfectly said. Next one's a little bit emotional, but it ties into the brainwashing that we go through, and you have.
This is when he's going to really start to kind of get into the white supremacy.
Have to go through it when you're going to go to war, right? You have to truly believe the person on the other side of that fence is your enemy. Because if you don't believe that in your heart, it's really hard to go downrange and do the fighting, right? And so here's another example of this. This one's a little bit emotional, but a lot of veterans are going to feel this one as well.
Evil. Chris served in Afghanistan in 2008. He says that becoming immersed in the culture of the American military
I've covered
has a
this guy
huge
before.
effect on his character, especially the way he saw potential enemies.
Yep.
When I first joined the Army, they were preparing us for the enemy we were going to face.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got into the military, the desensitization of racism, hate, and extremism happened immediately.
Yep.
Mounting losses, including the death of his best friend, took a psychological toll on him.
It makes you angry. It affected me. You come home and you're so f***ed up, you need somebody to blame.
True.
You got to have somebody to blame because it just doesn't make sense if you don't have somebody to blame.
Chris says he left the army with a hatred for Muslims.
Yep.
After spiraling into drink and drugs, he was radicalized by white supremacists. In 2015, the BBC aired this.
Sorry, it was this documentary that I covered a series. I believe this was linked to an atheist group, maybe, but it might not, because I covered white supremacist groups a lot when I first started the Raging Atheist channel, right up until pretty much the demonetization, and then I was kind of forced to go into a different direction. But I especially when he takes his hood off, immediately I remembered covering it. This is a guy that I've covered before. He's a guy that does a lot of work in bringing white nationalists out of white nationalism. So he lived a life, he got out of the life, and now he's dedicated his life to bringing people away from the hatred. This is a person, if you probably sat down and talked to him, you wouldn't be able to stand this person, right? His politics are going to be probably, these people never quite get all the way from it. We just have to appreciate how much they do, right? And we had, this person is doing the work, right? When it comes to fighting hatred, this person right here is doing the work. He's going into the groups and talking to the people, right? It's dangerous work. So I got to give him his respect, politics aside.
Documentary filmed with the KKK, and it
right
featured
there,
Chris,
immediately I knew.
who had
I was like,
become a
oh
member.
yeah, I've covered this guy.
He's a white supremacist. Yeah, absolutely. I believe so. Yeah, I believe we're God's chosen people.
Since this interview was filmed, Chris says he's changed his views drastically.
You show me a kid that's pissed off, and I'll make you an extremist out of him. Right? I just need to know what he's pissed off about.
Concerns about it.
So, that's way more of us than you guys realize. Way more of us than you guys realize. I came home with it too, right? I'm not any different than everybody else was. This is a boomer channel. We are the polar opposite of Fox News boomer channel, buddy. Wrong channel, homie. You're just a MAGA cuck. Wrong channel for you, homie. But yeah, I mean, there's
like that's how he deals with MAGA. Like you're just a MAGA cuck. Like if the left would just learn, like, and lefties out there be more hardcore. If liberals would just take a breath of little Nate here. How far do we go? Because I always have a reason why I go to the point I go. So we're going to 33:04. So still a few minutes left.
so many of us that come home with that, and
then we're gonna move
there's
on to
just a ton of veterans
the King
that
of
have
Dark
not.
Woke.
As he said there, he had a great. What he said when he said, "You come home, you need somebody to blame for what you did." Right? It's very difficult, and I've taken lives downrange, guys. Me personally. Right. And I'll be forthright with you. Obviously, if you know my awards, it's obvious that that's happened. There's a reason why I never talk about it. You almost never see me talk about this on the show. Is I'm not proud of it. Right. It was done out of self-defense. You're in war and combat. But, you know, it's one of those things like, am I proud of that? When I'm at home now, looking back on it and I, you know, hanging out with my wife and kids and I start to think about those things, am I proud of that? No, absolutely not. Right. At the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. At the time I was, right. I was defending myself and my teammates. War is what it is. Once you're downrange and you're in combat, nobody cares about ideologies or politics. It's all about staying alive at that point. Right. But it's very, very difficult once you're out. It's a lot easier.
So, and right there you have Nate just like debunking the myth about atheists and foxholes, right? Like he said it right there. Like once you're downrange, nobody cares about ideology, politics, you know, it's about staying alive. It's the only thing you fucking care about. It's this whole myth of atheist and foxholes, my ass. And Nate is spelling that out like clear as day. Like when you're in the shit, it's about getting out of the shit.
Easier when you're active duty and you're still in the culture and you're still deploying and doing all these things. Once you're out, once you're a veteran, it's cry harder. Think about this, bro. You've probably never left your fucking basement in your life, and I know that because you make the comment. You're just a little chud pussy at home. Never left mom and dad's basement. You could never ever understand or empathize with combat veterans ever. The vast majority of combat veterans are going to tell you the same thing. We're watching high level. The people we just watched, right? Clay, Sean Ryan, these are high level special operators who are telling you the exact same thing, right? That's how I know someone like that's never served, never been to combat, never been to war. Is it's not good. It's ugly, right? A couple more takes, right? And I think this is there's some good ones here.
Yeah, this one right here, man. It's like, you know, people that when you use human beings as tools, you know, you brainwash them, you turn them into killing machines, you use them as tools. Sooner or later, they're going to wake up. They're going to hit that questioning phase. And once you start questioning shit, ask any atheist. Ask anybody that used to be a hardcore Christian and is now an agnostic, right? Once you hit that questioning phase, it's kaput. There ain't no turning back. Like, fuck, I had a nervous breakdown and spent a good solid year trying to convince myself I could believe. Just convince myself that it was possible to believe in a God again, even though I knew that I could never believe in a God again. I had to seek a compromise. Or my, what I call soul, whatever you want to call it, you know, like without any of those religious, supernatural connotations, but like when you're feeling something right there, like you know, like I always say, like when I committed my crimes, I knew that I was fucking up. I felt it like right fucking here when I was kicking that door in, man. Like, man, you are fucking up. You are fucking up. You are fucking up for life, fucking up. And I was. I didn't listen to it, right? That soul, man. Like, once you start questioning, there's no coming back from that. And these people, they don't trust nobody no more because we use them as tools, man. We worse than tools. We use them as guns. We turn them into guns to non-thinking killing machines. Just hate. Just hate for the enemy. And we've given them a lot of enemies, an endless amount of enemies. Non-stop for 30 fucking years now. Oh, man. Yeah, you know, I've never really believed in, like, empath shit. You know, none of that stuff. I'm starting to realize that I can't empathize with people more than others, I think. Because I can step right into these people's shoes. Maybe it's because I've read so many fucking books. I don't know. I can understand their confusion, man. You know, I can. Politics aside, I can understand their confusion. This guy right here is powerful, man. This one hit me pretty hard. I have like in my anti-war activism just dealt with a lot of ex-soldiers.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't trust nobody anymore. I don't trust our government. I don't trust the churches. I don't trust most businesses, especially big major corporations, the hedge funds. Everybody's full of shit. And we've been lied to for so long that I don't know what's real and what's fake anymore. Hell, I don't even know what I've been taught in school is even real anymore. I'm questioning that. I think what we've been taught in school has been a big narrative of bullshit of what they want us to know, not necessarily the truth. I think there's going to be a massive awakening coming soon. And I think it's going to be based off of what I call the trust economy. And nobody is going to trust anybody without verification anymore because everybody's waking up to the bullshit. I don't know how you guys feel. Post in the comments. You feel like there's a huge awakening happening in America?
Well, we know there is, right? We know there's a huge awakening going on in the country right now. Thank God, right? We're not all the way there by any means. We're at the starts. We're at the start of it. But there is definitely a huge, huge awakening. All right, next.
Yeah, like even Nick Fuentes' audience is waking up to his bullshit, man. like it is just, it's something to watch if you're really tapped into it. But again, you got to be wary. Like a lot of these people, like I think Nate here could probably be a really good ally, especially give this dude like a year to keep going in the direction that he's going. This dude's going to be solid. But a lot of these people out there, like especially the grifters, man, you know, like, you know, they're jumping ship, not because they want to, but because they see where the tides are going, right? Like, you know, Megyn Kelly, fucking MTG. What I think Lauren Boebert retiring now? Like she's probably making a play for that American First. And this dude is America First. All of this guy's merch. Like you go to this dude's merch store. Let's see if it's down here. Sometimes they'll throw it down here. It's all America First shit. Again, like the swing that I demonstrated just in this fucking stream alone. Like, you know, that first bit we were watching him watch a Keith Edwards clip. Like when I first started watching this dude, that would have been Candace Owens. That would have been Nick Fuentes. You know, like the swing that I've witnessed with this guy in particular. But it's all across, and not just MAGA. Just think about the swing in the Democratic base that we're seeing, the anti-Israel sentiment that those of us on the left who have been banging our head against that fucking Zionist wall forever, Puff knows what I'm talking about. Like, it's a breath of fresh air to start seeing some of these liberals coming on board. Some of these never-Trumpers even. Like, holy shit. Like, I never thought Tim Miller would be waking up. You know? Like, the awakening that's happening across the board is real. It is happening. Like I said, you know, that to me, I look at it like that initial chink. You know, it was that tweet. You know, Trump would have been better to just release the Epstein files, unredacted, his crimes be damned, and he would have kept more people than what he's going to end up with. It would have been a lot easier for a lot of these people to do those mental gymnastics and go after everybody else than what they've had to deal with for a year now. You know, all these people that when Kash Patel was put as head of the FBI with Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi as the AG, all these people thought like, oh, we're gonna get it. We're actually gonna get it. And then I don't have the Epstein files. The Epstein files don't exist. They're a Democratic hoax. Like, that was the chink. That tweet saying you're no longer my supporter if you don't stop talking about the Epstein files. And then it's just been a slow cracking. And like these fascists could have won so easily if they had gotten anybody besides Donald Trump. Or if it would have just been earlier in his life. But they got old, syphilis-ridden, demented Donald Trump, who couldn't even run a casino. Like the hilarity of it all. Like they've probably been planning this for 50 fucking years. And to see it now, we're not out of, I am being a bit optimistic right now. We're not out of it yet. Like I said, that thing about the military scares the fucking shit out of me. I think we're almost done with this. A couple more minutes. And then we're going to move on to Dark Woke King. But that shit with the military scares me. You know, what are they going to do when they realize that it's not just no longer cracking, but it's shattered? There's only really one play left at that point. And that would pretty much be civil war. So, my longtime prediction that I predicted, I'm probably going to sadly have to go and find it, but I did it on this channel. Predicted the Civil War a long time ago. I'm either going to be right or wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope the glass shatters in a different direction. But we're coming to it. All right, so a couple more minutes of this, and then we'll get over to Dark Woke King. And I do have a little bit of Candace Owens just to really point out, like, you know, I am sure that in these MAGA crowds, we'll see if we have time to actually cover the Candace Owens shit. But I am sure within these MAGA crowds, within these MAGA pundits over the last 10 years, that behind the scenes, they be slicing each other's necks. Like, I am sure of that. We just have never seen it publicly. And now we are. And oh my fucking God. It is beautiful. I'm here for it. I ain't gonna lie. I've been waiting for this shit for a long time. Like, I almost want Donald Trump to win against Candace Owens. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it's been that long with her. It's been that long with her. Like, I'm really conflicted about it, man. I'm really conflicted. Like, I am trying to stay true to my principles here. I believe in freedom of speech. You know, Candace gonna eventually have her day in court, and she's gonna lose, and she's gonna pay a price. I honestly believe that. But God damn it, it would be nice to see her pay the price for the white supremacist she propped up and pushed into power, even before she knew who the fuck Donald Trump was, or at least if Donald Trump was going to be running for president. Man, that's such a conflict for me. And, you know, I always be talking about, you know, you got to stay true to your principles even when it's hard. And with Candace, it's hard.
We're going to jump into the economy again a little bit. We covered everything going on in the war and yesterday.
Yeah, it terrifies me, Puff. It terrifies me.
We're pretty much caught up. Okay, but I just wanted to show you guys that, because I think a lot of non-veterans sometimes get confused when they look at the landscape and they're like, why is this Green Beret over here super anti-war and this Green Beret over here super pro-war? And it's hard for them to understand, you know, why that may be. So I think that was, you know, some really good takes on that. All right, before we do that, let's hit a couple super chats.
All right, that was actually the end of what I wanted to watch there. So we'll get over to Dark Woke King now. This is another story. Like, again, I thought about just doing the Graham Platner piece, but I really I think Kyle nails the commentary here. And Graham Platner, you know, he is doing very phenomenal things. Like, just think about all the money the Democratic Party poured in against Graham Platner just for him to clobber them. Think about the campaigns about the Iron Cross. You know, I've covered the Nazis for a while. You know, I've heard of the Iron Cross for a while. I just never seen it before. Right? Like, it was a rather obscure neo-Nazi symbol. I'm not sure if I buy his story about it. I think it might have been a different story. I don't think he's a Nazi. And I shouldn't be saying that word. That's why I don't get play here on YouTube. But fuck it. I don't think he's Nazi. I think he probably got it as a, like, fuck you to Nazis, because I think he's probably a communist. Like, he was definitely a Reddit communist, probably right around the time he was getting the tattoo. So, but, like, just think about, like, the media campaigns they've launched against this dude, right? And he's crushing he's gonna take Susan Collins' seat. I'm pretty fucking sure of it. And it's because of this, what we're about to watch. This dude can reach people. Like, these 3-time Trump voters can be reached. They're mad. A lot of them want to be socialists. They just don't know it. A lot of them hate the billionaires. You know, a lot of them work their whole goddamn lives and they ain't got nothing now. And you know what? Like, I know it's not much, but this is more hair than I've had in a long time. I do have a bald spot that I found out since I grew it out. I kind of knew it, but I think I was in denial. But I do. I've got hair. I've got hair, and it's different, and I like playing with it. I haven't had hair in like 10 years. But yeah, Graham is he's something. Probably the future of the Democratic Party. Now, the great fear with Graham Platner is do we have another John Fetterman on our hands? You know, unless dude's going to have a stroke and just go straight fucking Fetterman, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think this dude has been fairly consistent, especially since he got out of the Army, went through that questioning phase we just talked about. Or I think he might have been Navy. I can't remember which force he went to. But, yeah, we'll jump into Dark Woke King here. I usually don't cover too many left-wing commentators on the channel. I usually try to keep it to the other side. Have in the past with Young Turks, but they're not really left-wing anymore, are they? But Kyle's always been somebody that I have watched since before I started doing YouTube. Pretty much since he was a small channel, an affiliate of TYT. You know, I've been watching Kyle. So, you know, I've pretty much experienced his growth. I often talk about him on Facebook. If you're on my Facebook, you see me talk about Kyle. To me, he's the most consistent commentator out there. He has been consistent for over the decade that I've watched him. But he has become the king of Dark Woke. You know, he has, and he'll even talk about it himself here if I actually get there, where, you know, like 2018 Kyle, different Kyle than 2026 Kyle. But, you know, the most consistent when it comes to his policy. He's always been true to the progressive cause, and I would say probably, you know, a closet socialist. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Atheist just doesn't really talk. He started his channel. It's another reason I, you know, was pretty hip to his channel since the beginning, because he started his channel Secular Talk as kind of this political, anti-religious platform, but he got away from the anti-religious part.
So he went and sat down with a Republican voter, and this isn't even like one of the tolerable Republican voters. This is a literal fucking triple Trumper, y'all. This isn't like in 2016 they dabbled in it because they felt like Trump would keep their job here and Hillary would outsource it. No, this is like a fucking triple Trumper. So Graham sat down with a triple Trump voter in Maine, and what follows is fucking amazing, because as you're going to see here, he gets this guy to admit the truth about Trump. Which usually triple Trumpers, they're gonzo. They're like, you know, no hope, fucking chugging the Jim Jones Kool-Aid, like committed to the death cult, would pick Trump over their own family members. He got a triple Trumper to admit the
Jesus is Lord. Kyle was describing you. You should, you should thank him for the publicity.
Truth about Donald Trump. Here we go. Let's watch.
When we set out on this campaign, I was fully convinced that working people in this state have a lot more in common with each other than they might think. We often find ourselves surprised to realize that we have almost everything in common. And in the spirit of that, we're going to sit down this morning with a Republican voter from Machias and try to find out what we agree on.
Yeah, they asked me earlier, a minute ago, why I got into politics, or how long, if I'd always been involved in politics. I haven't. 10 years ago, Trump decided to run, and he spoke my language. And I voted for him again. I voted for him 3 times because I wanted to see how he was going to continue, because I thought he was doing okay. And then this turn, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to vote for him this time, but he's got 1 year. He's not only not done what I thought he was going to do, he's gone not completely the opposite direction, but
pretty far.
Yeah, he's gone pretty far.
I'd say probably went the opposite direction. I'm not sure when this was recorded, May 4th, 2026. No, this is when it was reposted on Twitter, I believe. Because this was older. I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure this was made before Iran, and so I'm pretty sure it'd be like, dude, if he was asked today, it would be like completely opposite. Because a lot of these people voted for Trump because they were sold the idea, mainly because, you know, it's hard to admit it, leftists were making, you know, the whole Gaza thing an issue for Kamala. And they were really arguing that Kamala was going to attack Iran on behalf of Israel, right? Like they were, like I dealt with this at my job at the time, trying to convince people like Kamala is not going to start World War III. I can't tell you how many people came up to me in this election, like, bro, how can you even think about voting for Kamala? She's going to start World War III. And I'd be like, where the fuck did you hear that shit? Bro, like she's like sucking Israel's dick, bro. Like, I can't tell you how many times I heard that shit, right? So a lot of these people voted because of that. And I spoke of it at the time. During that election, it was like football season. You'd be watching a football game, and then the entire commercial break was anti-trans propaganda. The entire commercial break would be anti-trans propaganda during that election. Like, it was fucking insane. Right? But like this dude probably didn't want his grandkids going to war. So he voted for Trump and gave him a year, as he's saying. And now his grandkids are probably going to go to war if they can figure out how to get the troops in there.
Beyond what, and it's not good for the country. None of what he's done is good for the country.
None of what he's done is good for the country. None of what he's done is good for the country. Watch, this heats up a little bit. Now, I will say, Graham's a better guy than me. Oh, Graham's a better guy than me. Because if I sat down with this guy, it wouldn't go this smoothly. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe the 2018 version of Kyle, if I sat down with this guy, yeah, I might be able to fucking, you know, get some truth across and deconvert him and all that stuff and hold his hand and sing Kumbaya. And
yeah, we all know, like, 2026 Kyle going dark woke as fuck. And I would be there for it. I'm not going to lie. It is the great paradox of our time for us, right? Like, how do we treat these people when they come back to the sane? And like, my policy is, right, like, I will treat you like you're sane when you prove you are sane, right? Just because you left Trump, that don't necessarily prove that you're sane. Let's talk about vaccines, all right? Let's have a conversation about vaccines. We can start with vaccines, right?
coming for the soft landing. But the 2026...
Then, like, the finish, the hard part, right? The hard part is, and then this will be the defining answer. What do you think about Democrats? Right now, if you're going to say, like, corporate shills that'll, you know, suck the dicks of the donor class and would probably bend over for the Epstein class if they could, well, that would be fair, right? If you say most evil thing in the history of the world, like CJ Cox would, well, you're not sane.
Version of Kyle, I do not have that patience. Dear Lord, I do not have that patience. I do not have that empathy. You know who I
And last word on the Democratic Party. Now, leftists like myself, leftists like Puff, leftists that you know, Hassan, Kyle here, even the Young Turks back in the day, you know, we'll give them their credit for when they actually deserved it. Not anymore. Like, oh my God, what's happened to them? Like, even Hassan had to call out Chink. Like, it's getting that bad. It's getting, like, a little bit. You know, he had to call out his I can't remember how he described it. Some like Bulgarian uncle or some shit. It was funny. We have made great roads. Bernie Sanders, you know, AOC, she's not the leftist that we thought. This is for sure, but she has a legitimate chance to be one of the most left-wing presidents that we have had in a very, 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 very long time. Shit's turning. We made a lot of inroads with the Democratic Party, and like these motherfuckers are going to be realizing real quick when all these leaders do end up being kicked out that we ain't fucking around about Israel. You know, like we got the base now. Like we got control now when it comes to Israel. Finally, you know, if Israel wants to become a respectable country, a democratic country, treat its neighbors with respect instead of constant hostility, work out a two-state solution, an honest two-state solution with Palestine, leave Libya alone, leave Syria alone, leave them all alone, live peacefully, then we can talk about being friends with Israel again, right? This ain't about Israel or the people of Israel. This is about the government of Israel being homicidal, genocidal maniacs, and they shouldn't get another goddamn penny of American dollars. That's pure and fucking simple. Pure and fucking simple. And every leader in Israel that is responsible for the genocides, plural now, then, well, they need to be held responsible. Just like our leaders. And that includes the Democrats. You know, that includes the Democrats. We need to do something to get some of this blood off our hands. That's my opinion on it.
Have empathy for, and I have sympathy for all the fucking victims of Trump's policies. That's why I have empathy and sympathy for. I have empathy and sympathy for the 170 innocent Iranian schoolgirls who got murdered by the Trump regime, by the axis of Epstein. Okay, that's who I feel bad for. That's who I'm thinking about. I don't know if I have it in me to be kind and understanding and to hold this guy's hand and walk him through it like Graham Platner does. But as you're going to see, he just knows what he's doing. He just knows what he's doing. He knows how to get across to them in a way that is astonishing. Where he's going to hold, he's like the overwhelming majority of Democratic voters are going to be there. The overwhelming majority of independents are going to be with him, and he's stealing, let's say, 5%, 8% of the Republican voters, which is not something, maybe even as much as 12% of the Republican voters, which is, again, a unique talent that I feel like not many people have.
I hate to say, I'm not going to say I was wrong, because I don't like to say I'm wrong.
No!
Wrong, but I will admit, I'm questioning.
Oh, is that all it took? Is that all it took for you to question pretty hard? Starting multiple illegal wars against countries that didn't attack us, the most corrupt president.
Yeah, I mean, it's... But, maybe I have a kind of a special ability to kind of empathize with cult members because I've just covered so many cults, man. And MAGA is a cult. It is politics. And I think a lot of people, when they call it a cult, they're doing it to be derogatory, right? Like to be insulting. But it is a cult. It is. Like my dad's in it. A lot of my family members are in it still to this day. Like good people, man. Like my uncle Greg is a great human being that somehow has gotten some really warped politics. And I've spoken on it. Like I just I don't talk to any of these people anymore. It's a sad thing. It's really hard to come out of it. If they do come out of it, I'm never gonna have my actual dad back. Like the liberal dad I grew up with, man. Like he resisted that shit for the longest time down in North Carolina. It was fucking. I was proud of him. Me and my brother, we had to get away from it. We had to get away from that shit in order to really like come out of it. But now he's fully gone. It's these people. It's hard for us to understand, like, because we saw it all along, right? But for these people, it's been a decade of idolizing a person, right? Like thinking this person was telling them the truth, and they shouldn't have thought that. You know, I can't understand how they thought that. It is the paradox of humanism, of empathy. It is the paradox. Like, how do we treat these people, right? How do we treat the people that still support it? How long, like, so if we are going to grant clemency to people coming to sanity, how long does that extend? Does it extend after they really start locking up leftists? Like, they're going after James Comey. They've come after a few of us. A few American citizens have died. A few soldiers have died in Iran. Like, when do we start drawing the line? And when do we start drawing the line to begin with, right? Like, because if we don't start drawing the line soon, then, well, we're going to lose, right? They all should have already been impeached by now. And the fact that none of these people have been impeached by now just goes to show that we shouldn't even have the clause in the Constitution. Because if we're not going to use it now, when we must, we ain't never going to use it. It's never going to be used. It'll only be used to impeach. It'll never be used to remove. It'll only be used for political means, for talking points, pointing fingers. But it'll never be used for what it's actually meant to be used, because if it was ever going to be used for what it was actually meant to be used for, we'd have already done that shit. It's fucked up.
We've ever seen by far, and it's not even close, where they're self-enriching to the tune of billions of dollars as the treasury is being fucking looted by the billionaire Epstein class. We're looking at concentration camps being built across this country, protesters being shot in the face for telling the truth. And is that all it took? A man who's in the Epstein files and covering up the Epstein files, the massive fucking child rape ring, is that all it took for you to go, maybe, man?
See, and this is why I went with this version, because I can sit here and give you the Taoist, empathetic, at least empathetic to a point of view, and then Kyle can just come and hit you with that dark woke, like, fuck you. And both are legitimately valid, I think. That is the paradox of the age we live in.
I don't like to say I'm wrong, but like, I guess maybe, maybe. Oh, man. Oh, Lord. Good Lord. Oh, Graham Platner has the patience of a saint. Oh, my word. I wouldn't be able to handle this, bro. I would not be able to handle this. I'd be calling this guy a fucking douchebag probably within 2 minutes.
Trump came along and told a lot of us.
And he would. That's why he could never run for president. Something that we knew to be true was actually true, which is that we live in a system that's stealing from us. He can never do it, because he'd be like...
And, it's funny,
Kyle would be on that debate stage, he'd be like, you're a fucking douchebag. Like, what are you doing? You're a fucking douchebag. Crystal, come here. Tell him he's a douchebag. Yeah, I can see that.
A lot of my friends are like 3-time Trump voters. And, I didn't vote for Trump, but I very much understand why people did. And then I talk to friends of mine who don't live in Maine or don't live in rural areas, who are always just like, I don't get it. I'm like, man, everybody down here feels like they're getting robbed. And Trump came along and told us that, one, you are getting robbed. Meanwhile, everybody else is telling us that everything's good. They're like, the system's great and we should protect it. And Trump said, the system is screwing you, because it is, and we all see it every single day. I was not surprised back in 2016, where I had friends of mine who were like, I either like Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. And I know a lot of people who are like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it makes sense to me. It does in the sense that it's because both of them are like, this whole thing is screwed up. Blow it up and do something different. And I think that was the message. It's a compelling message, and one that, frankly, I think that, that's my message too. This thing is, in many ways, irreparably broken. And
Bernie's the reason why I really became 100% cynical, because in 2016, both times, there's 2 times that he's been just tossed aside. Yep. He had the nomination and just got replaced.
Yep. Well, that's the powers that be refused to let him have it.
And that's true. He had Hillary's beat, and the DNC pulled their maneuver. They made sure he wasn't going to get it. Do you know how heartbroken we were when he conceded to Hillary? Just to find out, I think it was a couple years later, when, what's her name, Rhonda, I can't remember her name, the former head of the DNC, came out and pretty much said what they did to Bernie. And then they did it again on a smaller scale, tipped the scale in favor of Joe Biden in 2020. And they're like, the Democrats fundamentally fucked up. Because they did it to Bernie 2 cycles in a row. And then they replaced Joe Biden with Kamala Harris, and nobody trusted them. That's pretty much like people that were saying were going to vote for Kamala didn't vote for Kamala because they didn't trust the Democrats. Because the Democrats showed how shady they are. Democrats are just, and leadership don't quite see it yet, just how lucky they are that the Trump administration is just abject failures in every regard. That's why, like, Jill in the side chat's not even worth paying attention to anymore, because Jill in the side chat is a joke. He's not even America first. He's MAGA. And the difference in that on the right wing right now is everything. Because MAGA, while they got power and they're waging this stupid war, they're not the majority anymore. They lost. Now we're going to see what they do with that loss, because that's the scary time. But that dude just dropped just straight fucking truth bombs, man. Democrats screwed Bernie. And Graham's right. Like, Bernie and Trump, like, Trump was able to steal so much from Bernie because they essentially represented the same thing. A way to at least start to try to fix the broken system. And you fix it by tearing it all fucking down. Although Bernie would have done it in a healthy way. See, that was a fundamental flaw by the Democratic Party. And they're lucky as fuck. And if they continue to play with that, well, then we'll see the rise of not just a third party, but a fourth. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I have a feeling we're either going to have civil war or, you know, like whatever ultimately pulls the strings behind everything is going to realize capitalism is going to have to compromise. So they'll pull some mechanic to rein in the Republican Party, bring it back more to the center. They'll try to rein back in the Democratic Party, although I don't think that's going to happen on either account. And solidify a two-party system again, so the spice can flow. I have honestly, I kind of hope that happens because I don't want to see civil war. I don't want to be right with my prediction. But that would kind of probably include like, and actually, I don't want that to happen. Now that I've taken a second to just think about it, I'd rather see civil war because that would include pretty much a pardon for at least the biggest players in that Epstein class to go back to normal, right? No, it's I think it's time that is, whether it be a hot civil war or a cold one, it's time for the war. And I said it in my stream yesterday, like we're getting past that time of politics. Like, we are getting to the class war now. And if some miracle happens to where that horseshoe becomes a circle, well, then that's when you have revolutions and great change. And maybe this time we'll learn from our great mistakes in the past revolutions, because when you win, if you win, you have to be aware of those leaders you trusted so much to win it for you. Right? Power corrupts. But that's all for the future. I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is a fascinating clip. I think I'm done with it though. But like, you get the gist. I think he ultimately gets the dude to really like tell the ultimate truth about Donald Trump and really come to the conclusion. And 3-time Trump voters, they're everywhere now. Never saw that before. They're everywhere now. Do I want to do Candace tonight? Everything's changing. How is it going to change? Where are we going to end at? I've been streaming for a while. I could try to like play, maybe relax, watch some videos, play some games. I don't know. I'm not gonna have much time to relax this weekend. I do have 2 videos to edit together. I could save Candace for a special Candace stream at some point. Kind of let it play out. Right now it's Candace against the President of the United States. You know, because the president's come in with that on that Erica Kirk side. It's not even about like, you would think like Candace would be in hot shit, right? Because of France and the French president and the French president's wife, and she's probably gonna face some dire consequences for, well, no, actually I don't think she will, right? Like I think she'll probably get away with that unless like governments pull the levers of power. And I don't know. They could have, like, they do have a pretty strong case against her when it comes to defamation. I think I have seen a couple of those, at least snippets of those, of some of the streams. And like, holy fucking shit! Like Candace, I thought way back in the day when Candace was red pill black, and when she was talking about Colin Kaepernick. That I couldn't experience her be any worse than that. But I was wrong. that what she was some of the things she says about Macron's wife. Man, I think they might have a case. I mean, you can prove defamation against a public figure. It's a lot harder. But now that I'm really thinking about that, it's like, I think she might be fucked on that one. Probably is fucked on that one. Lucky she got a rich-ass husband. We can watch a little bit of this. Just a little taste of what's going to come when I do a stream on Candace Owens. Man, I wish I still had my life considered shit, because she's probably scrubbed everything about her doxing days from the internet at this point. I don't think I'd be able to find anything about her doxing days on the internet anymore. It'll be interesting to try. I want to try. God, I don't even remember how I found out about it. I would love to get some of that. To do like a history of Candace Owens and her betrayals of everything and everyone. Because she has betrayed everything and everyone. She's probably betrayed her goddamn husband, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, her and Kanye got really, really close there for a while. I'm just saying. Because she betrays everybody. This is about Daily Wire, right? Oh, it is really, really good. I only watched a little bit of it, and I'm like, oh, this is... Candace ain't holding back, bro. All right, so if you have to understand the situation with the Daily Wire, right? Because and she's going to kind of talk about it here. So for years, the fact that Candace Owens props up white supremacy has never been an issue for Ben Shapiro. Ever. Because Candace brought views. Right? Never cared about all those Jew haters in her chats before. Right? Like, she has never hit it. People. Ever. Like, ever. Red pill black days ever. Right? This girl is something. Ben Shapiro never had a fucking problem with it, though. Never had a problem with Matt Walsh. Never had a problem with Michael Knowles. They draw the same crowd. They draw the same people. Certain element of the conservative movement, if you know what I'm saying. Never had a problem with it. Now, she ain't going to come out and put it out in those terms. That's the terms that I'm going to use because it's the truth. Ben Shapiro never had a fucking problem with it until October 7th. And then all of a sudden, he got a fucking problem with it. We will watch maybe just a little bit. Because this infighting in MAGA, and as I said, like, I am sure that this shit was happening behind the scenes all along. All of these people hated each other. They were all vying for the top spot. All of them hate Tucker. All of them hate Candace. All of them hate Joe Walsh when he was on top way back in the day. They all hate each other. You know, all of them. God, I can't even think of their names right now. It's just a blur of fucking disgusting grifters. But now it's out in the open, and they don't hide it. They go for each other's throats. Like, I thought kind of how the left and the middle go back and forth gets a little overboard. Right? Like, we get a little overboard. We're allies at the end of the day. We are usually going to vote as a block together. We can be a little more cordial to each other, you know, than I think we are, right? But when you look at this, and then you look at us, and you're like, okay, we're a healthy family, right? Like, families fight, but we fight healthy. Let's take a look at this.
Okay, I've actually never done this like new live situation on X, so I hope it works. I guess I can wait a second here, but I'm just gonna assume that it's live. Yeah, I see that it is live. Great.
Right.
I just
have a good night, Marty.
I have time tonight, and I just want to walk you guys through everything that's been going on with the Daily Wire, culminating in Jeremy Boring's just complete lie that he told tonight. I knew we were going to get there. We have kind of been trying to fish them out for a while. We knew, obviously, that they were behind this drive or at least I should say, we very much suspected that since the same lawyers that they had privately suing me in arbitration court for the last 2 years are the same lawyers that were suing Brett Cooper in arbitration.
This chick has she is getting sued by everybody. All right, everybody's suing this woman right now. It's about time. Honestly, it's about time. I ain't gonna lie, it's about time.
Court, the same lawyer that is now representing Brian.
Me and Nate would definitely not agree on Candace Owens. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Harpole in this case, we had received a ton of tips that, and obviously been publicly said, sue her regarding Erica Kirk, and Jeremy dressing up this, hey, I have this piece of information that we had learned that George got arrested, basically just sharing Laura Loomer's report. You have no idea how much this just triggered me, because just first and foremost, to get to at the heart of what they're trying to do, they have been desperately trying to destroy me and trying to destroy my family for about 3 years now since they fired me. And I'm going to go back and tell you the story of the things that they have done. But in this particular circumstance, they don't know what has happened. They have been trying to draw blood for years, and they now have Laura Loomer, who, what they're largely trying to insinuate and what Jeremy says there is people should dig. You know, we heard this report and we didn't do anything when we heard this report, but people should dig and follow Laura Loomer to see. I don't know if George was guilty of this crime. He's kind of caging this. I don't know if George did this DUI or if he was charged, but we were approached about this and we made the noble decision not to say anything until Candace attacked Erica Kirk. It's the most despicable, dishonest narrative, first and foremost. Again, what it does to my soul when people who did not like Charlie Kirk, Jeremy, and Ben Shapiro are now using him as a shield, his family as a shield, so that they can just do what they've been doing for the last 3 years while Charlie Kirk was perfectly alive and actually backing me up. When they began this pursuit of my family, he was there for me throughout it. There is just a level of sinister dishonesty that these people have. I actually can say that I don't have the vocabulary to express how I feel about their nature and their truly evil nature. So yeah.
Truly evil nature. So pretty much they're saying that Candace Owens' husband got drunk, killed somebody, and then paid to cover it up. Oh, do I still have it? I don't know if I still have it. I do. Oh, wait, no, I don't. Wait, do I? Do I still have it? Please tell me. Oh God. Is it this? What is this? Oh, it is. It is. It is. All right, let me get rid of this. We got to hopefully it's going to do it right. It's better do it right. All right, let me get rid of this. Oh, I fucking love it. I fucking love it. We got us a cat fight. Oh, I am so here for it. I am so here for it. Oh, it is a beautiful sight to behold. It is so beautiful. Jill, how do you feel about your heroes coming for each other's jugulars? Oh, it's so great. It's so great. No, I think that's it. I think that's it. That's all we need. We had a little taste of all the drama. Everything is changing, my friends. I'm here for every. I mean, this is kind of how I've been filling my time: video games, working, and watching MAGA fall apart. You know, it's getting pretty bad for all of us. You know, it's these gas prices, man. These food prices, housing prices. You know, if you've got insurance this year, are you gonna have it next year? You know. If you got insurance this month, are you going to have it next month? Who knows? Who knows anymore? Right? So I've always been that silver lining type of dude. I try to find the silver linings where I can find them. You know, I kind of have to. You know, I deal with a lot of dark shit. I watch a lot of dark shit doing this over the years. I've learned more than I need to know over the years. More than any human being needs to know. Shit, like sometimes I honestly think I get like really mild PTSD from some of the things I've forced myself to become aware of. Nothing like Nate or any of the veterans, you know, that have killed. But you know, like sometimes you wake up from a dream where you're inside of a cult that you studied for 6 months. You know, like you're in it. And it's really hard to kind of shake that, you know. It's kind of fucked up when that shit happens. It is that time. It is that time, Puff. So I do think I'm gonna get out of here. But ultimately, just positive, you know. And I'm gonna try to keep that positive focus for certain streams and take it negative when I need to, right? Like. A lot of this shit is bad and can't all be peaches and cream. Everything's changing. You know, that's not the complete narrative. Things are changing. Political winds are blowing different directions. And fascists are still in the White House. Stephen Miller's a white supremacist through and through. So the work lies ahead. Again, I've got 2 videos that I am editing together. Hopefully I'll have part 2 to the Mehdi Hassan video out by Saturday. Then I have a pretty interesting one. I'm calling it Reprobate. I think that's a good one. I think that's going to be a good one if I can do it right. I filmed it. Now I got to edit it together and make it what I want it to be. Again, you know, editing videos, learning process, new program. I feel like I'm learning it rather quickly. There's some things in my presentation. I'm not scripting videos. I am kind of doing them off the cuff. You know, like I'll have an idea, but there's some stammering that I need to really work on getting out of there, and that might require going to a more scripted format. But I do want that level of authentic, you know, off the cuff and cuts. You know, feeling to the videos, because I think that really played well for me last time I was making videos, building a channel. I think people really appreciate that authentic, not that, this dude is reading me a script feel that you get from a lot of videos. So yeah, I'm back at it. I'm going to be working a lot this weekend, so I can't by any means guarantee a Saturday release of that video. But if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I did make a post on this page in the post section about the video today. You can click on the link, go watch it, sub to the other channel if you're not. I'm pretty sure most of the subs I got over there are from this channel. But yeah, I'm back at it, feeling pretty good. I do work a lot, so I do have bouts of tiredness. Definitely when the video that's up now that I just released this morning, definitely made it. Made it this morning. So a little early. I think my face might be a little puffy. Maybe could have waited a while and woken up a bit more. But I had to get to work. I wanted to do at least one shift today so I could do this tonight. And then I'm working all weekend. So I'll see you guys hopefully soon. But I still got to get back to the, I want to do a stream, 10 more reasons not to believe in Christianity. Maybe come up with another example of this. Cause like I said, I've been tapped into this, cracking of MAGA, probably a lot more than a lot of lefties out there. Just by accidentally finding Valhalla VFT back during the Charlie Kirk shooting. And I've just kept my ear plugged into that. So, I can do quite a few of these streams, if I really, really want to. And I think it's a good window into a fracture of this movement that's moving all over the place right now. So y'all have a good night. Remember, the earth is definitely round. It's not flat.